When I was postpartum with my first baby, I felt weak. My abs felt weak. I felt like my belly was still pregnant at times. I felt like lifting certain things like her car seat or carrying in groceries. I just didn't feel good in my body. And I kept thinking, when I get to where I fit in my pre-pregnancy pants again, when I get to this weight, when I get, I kept thinking that when I got somewhere, it would all just magically feel better. And I learned it didn't. But I am now 5 babies. I now have had 5 babies, and I have figured out along the way how to heal my abs and my core in a way that my body feels strong almost immediately postpartum. Yes, there is a recovery period, but because I have kept up with this through pregnancies, through multiple postpartum periods, I have learned how to keep my abs strong and take action to do that instead of just waiting for something that might never come. If this sounds like you right now or it's resonating with you in any way, I'm gonna explain and show you how I have done this. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sarah, family physician, wife, mom of 5, and exercise enthusiast. So welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so glad you're here. Like I mentioned, I am a mom of 5, and at the time of this recording, their ages about to be, just turned 5 months to 7.5. With my first pregnancy, like I said, even though I'm a physician, even though I'm a family physician that took care of pregnant and postpartum patients and delivered babies as part of my training, I had no idea how to heal myself in the postpartum period. And my very first postpartum visit, the doc basically said, okay, everything looks good, get back to exercise. And I was left with a what? Like, how do I do this? What do I do now? And I was an athlete growing up. And so I just felt so lost and confused. And all of that is part of why I was inspired to make this channel, because I wanted to provide valuable information to pregnant and postpartum women, no matter how postpartum you are, because that period is so delicate. And I think jumping back immediately into an exercise routine, even if it's exactly what you were doing pre-pregnancy, without thinking about your deep core, without thinking about your pelvic floor, can be harmful and can lead to injuries. And so I, after my second pregnancy, was diagnosed with what's called diastasis, recti, which is where there's an abdominal separation. And I was sent to physical therapy. And that started my journey learning all about the pelvic floor, the deep core, how important they are. And after that time, my 3rd, 4th, and 5th pregnancies and postpartums, I was really honed in and focused on those. I was active in many other ways, but if there was a day that I was busy and I had to drop other pieces of my workout, I always did something deep core, because I saw major benefit with it: pregnancy, labor and delivery, and then postpartum. And this is not something where it only applies if you're 6 months or 9 months postpartum or even a year. If you have never done deep core, this is something you can do years and years. If your kids are grown up, it is incredibly helpful. And so, that was my story, where I had this delivery where I felt really weak and just not good in my body. And over the years, with practice and with doing all of these exercises, I have learned how to recover in the postpartum period in a way that my body feels strong and good even during that recovery process. So today I'm gonna show you 3 of my favorite deep core ab moves that also incorporate the pelvic floor. And my absolute favorite one is the 3rd one, so I definitely want you to stay till the end to watch that. And you can do each of these moves individually. If you have a minute or two, you can do it together as a workout. You can just do one and switch. However you want to split it up is fine, but this is something you can absolutely do in a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. you could do repetitions and increase it. There is certainly more, even gentler type of moves for the deep core. Now, these are all safe pregnancy and postpartum, and I will give you, and they're also safe diastasis, recti, or abdominal separation wise. But I will also give you some pointers along the way if you're pregnant where you may want to make a modification or an adjustment. So all that to say, I'm going to show you these 3 moves. You can adapt them, modifications, all the things. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you for showing up and learning about this, because it is so hugely important and can just help the postpartum period feel physically and mentally more manageable. And that's what I want for everyone watching. Okay, so let me hop back to my mat and we will get started. So we're gonna start with 360 breathing, and I have multiple videos on this, so I will link those below. I'm gonna go through a couple different positions, just because when you, especially if you're new to this, the different positions can be more or less challenging, and your body just feels different throughout, so I just wanted to practice. So I take my hands in a C shape, put them around my ribs, and you do a nice big inhale. You want to feel the ribs expanding in 360 degrees, so forward, sides, and back. And then exhale audibly, like you're blowing out hundreds of birthday candles. I'm going to keep talking, you guys keep practicing. So as you exhale, you feel the ribs contracting back down and together. You feel a corset muscle tightening along your belly. So we're going to do 2, thinking about that. So really big inhale and exhale. 2 more. Inhale, expand in all directions, and then exhale. You really want to think about the ribs coming together, the corset muscle tightening. 1 more, big inhale, exhale. All right, I'm going to have you keep practicing with that. Now we're going to add the pelvic floor to the party. So same thing, you're going to inhale. As your ribs are expanding, you're going to think about relaxing your pelvic floor. And so you kind of, if your pelvic floor is a tissue that has 4 points, you want to think about that tissue being flat on the floor. On the exhale, you want to think about the ribs coming back together, the corset muscle tightening, and that pelvic floor is going to contract up and in, as if it's a tissue coming up and inside of you. And that's the bottom of that, like the corset muscle wraps around, sort of like a canister. Your diaphragm, which is your breathing muscle, is the top, and your pelvic floor is the bottom. So all of these things are connected. And it may sound like really a breathing exercise is going to help you recover from delivery and postpartum. Yes, absolutely, because this breathing reconnects your body to these muscles, and it helps relearn how they should be working together as a team. So we're going to bring the pelvic floor this time. So it's an inhale, expand in all directions, and then exhale audibly, hundreds of birthday candles blowing out, ribs come together, and you want to think about that pelvic floor up and in. We'll do 2 more in this position. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Awesome. Now we're going to do that on our knees. So same exact thing, we're just changing the position. This changes the gravity a little bit. So it's inhale, expand in all directions, and then exhale, contract, pelvic floor up and in, ribs are down. And I'm going to have you guys do 3 more, kind of just watching here while I talk for 1 minute. So as you're breathing, this breathing can be utilized during workouts. So if you're doing like a lifting or a strength, or whether it's body weight or using weights, you want to use this breathing and do that, deep exhalation on the exertional portion of any movement. And that can help make any workout also include your deep core. The other piece is, this is all about consistency. So in this specific situation, doing this every day for a few minutes every day is much more effective than doing it for like 20 minutes all on one day, once a week. So it's about repatterning your muscles in your body, and the way to do that is consistently. And if you can do 5 minutes a day, that's amazing. If you can do 10 minutes a day, great. Like whatever you can do, but doing it every day really helps maintain working on that strength. We'll do one more here. So a big inhale and then exhale. Pelvic floor up and in, ribs down, contracted, corset muscle tightening. Okay, the last position we're gonna do is in all fours or a quadruped position. So I am with my wrists, elbows, and shoulders stacked and in alignment, and my knees and hips are also stacked. And again, here you're gonna think about that big inhale, expanding your ribs in all directions, and then exhale, hundreds of birthday candles blowing out, contracting those ribs down, pelvic floor is up and in. Big inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. And we'll do one more here. And part of this, the benefit of this, not only physical, but also mentally, that type of breathing helps calm your nervous system down, which can feel incredible. Okay, so the next move we're gonna do is called a dead bug. This has a lot of different variations. If you are pregnant and you're at the point where laying completely flat on your back is uncomfortable, you probably want to skip this one. You can do a standing knee to elbow, and I have a video on that that I will link below. So for this one, the first sort of entry point for this exercise is to have your arms up, to have your legs in what's called a loose tabletop. So your legs, as opposed to being 90 degrees, they're just loose on your hamstrings. And the first piece is to drop your right arm to the floor and then bring it back up. And so to pair it with the breath, it's an inhale on the way down and then exhale on the way up. And on the way up, you're thinking about the corset muscle tightening around your belly, your pelvic floor up and in. So it's inhale, relax the pelvic floor, exhale, everything back up. Then we're gonna do some on the other side just to even it out. So inhale, everything is, the pelvic floor is relaxing, ribs expanding. Exhale, pelvic floor up and in, corset muscle tightening. And I know I'm repeating myself a lot here. We're gonna go back down and up, but the idea is reminding yourself to contract the pelvic floor on the exhale, to bring those ribs together and tighten that corset muscle, because that's what helps repattern your abs and help you heal a diastasis, heal your pelvic floor. Inhale down, exhale, pelvic floor up and in. Okay, so that is the most, like the most modified version. The next step would be when we drop our right arm, we're also gonna tap our left toes to the floor. So it's inhale and then exhale up. Inhale, toes to the floor, arm down, pelvic floor lengthened. Exhale, everything up, pelvic floor up and in. We'll do 3 more. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, ribs expand. Exhale up. Last one. Inhale down, exhale up. All right, same thing on the other side. So everything goes, so now I have my left arm extended, right toes, just tap the mat and then exhale back up. Inhale, ribs expand, pelvic floor relaxes. Exhale, pelvic floor up and in, corset muscle tightens. Inhale, exhale. We'll do about 3 more. You can go at your own pace. Also, this type of ab work, I intentionally move very slowly because that's the idea. The repatterning process takes time. and you want to make sure you're doing it correctly and really thinking about the breathing being together with the movement. Okay, and then the next level would be to extend your leg. So inhale, and instead of doing the toe tap, you fully extend the opposite leg and then exhale back up. So you can see, if you're doing these iterations with me, each one that we're doing is getting more challenging. Now with this, it's the same thing on the inhale, and everything goes down. You are relaxing the pelvic floor. And then on the exhale, when you bring everything back up, the pelvic floor is up and in, and the ribs are contracting down. So inhale, exhale, pelvic floor up and in. And with this, you want to think about pressing your low back into the mat. You also want to be aware of your belly. So your belly during all of this should be as flat as it can be. If you notice that it's like bulging out or coning, it means you're not ready for this level yet, and you need to go back to the beginning, because you don't want to advance too quickly before you've kind of taught your body how to do the move. Okay. Now, the last version would be what is the traditional dead bug, which would be keeping your legs in a 90-90 position, but it would be the same idea. So it's inhale, extend, and then exhale everything back up. And you could, if this becomes, okay, I got it, I'm keeping my abs in check, I'm pairing the breathing with the movement, and you can do this for 30 seconds, a minute, and it feels really strong and stable, then you can add weights. So you can hold weights in your hand, and that could be 1 pound, 2 pound, 5 pound weights. That could be water bottles. That could be soup cans. But that's kind of the progression of that move. And like I said, the important part is to always make sure your abs feel like they're staying flat. Okay, the next one is my favorite, which is called a bird dog. And so this one, you get into an all fours position. And again, just like we did in the beginning, everything is stacked. So shoulders, elbows, wrists, and then knees and hips. And this one also has a variety of modifications. So you can start with a hover, where you can hover your hand. You can do just your hand. You can hover your hand in your knee. So that's where I'm going to start now. So it's an inhale. And then on the exhale, pelvic floor is up and in, ribs contract, corset muscle is tightening, and you're really focusing on the stability, and you don't want to drop or rock your hips. So everything should be staying in line. And then you inhale, place it back down, and then on the exhale, you can switch sides. And if this is feeling like you're really wiggly, not enough stability, not enough balance, then just either do your hand or do your knee and alternate if it's too much to do both at the same time. And I'm going to keep switching here. We'll just do a few of these. I don't want you to feel discouraged if you are on the first level that I'm showing you. That is absolutely okay. And it doesn't matter if you're brand new postpartum, if you're 10 years postpartum. If you have never done these exercises, it takes time. I will just share that, like I said, I started learning about this stuff after my second baby, when I realized I had a diastasis, when I was diagnosed with it. And that was at this point 5.5 years ago. So I've been doing these through pregnancy, through postpartum, and so it's all about practice, and it's all about the consistency. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes a day. It can be just a few minutes if you're showing up every day. Okay, now the next thing to do the more challenging full version of the move would be to do an inhale. And on the exhale, you extend your arm and your leg fully. And you really want to think about, with that exhale, the pelvic floor is up and in, the corset muscle is tightened. You want to think about squeezing your arms and your legs. And I will share, and then inhale back down, and exhale up the other side. So now I have my left arm out and my right leg out. And then and you just keep doing those deep breathing throughout. So it's a big inhale and then a big exhale. So it's nice and slow and controlled. We're not about rushing, hustling, doing a bazillion reps. This is all about getting the movement tied to the muscles. We're gonna keep going for a few switches here. One of the reasons why I love this move, and this is one of my favorites, is because this also incorporates, as you can feel, leg muscles, arm muscles, and so does dead bug also. But this is why these are some of my favorite moves, because in addition to getting the deep core, I also feel like just in those few minutes, I'm also getting a little bit of toning in my arms and legs. I'm building strength in my entire body, which is the way to go for me as a super busy mom. And so that's why I wanted to share them, because I feel like in addition to the ab healing, you can get, a really great workout in just a few minutes. All right, we'll do 2 more. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Amazing. I am so proud of you guys for showing up. This, I hope, was really helpful and brought you value. And if it did, definitely drop a like below. I would love if you subscribe. Check out more of my videos here. And if you are interested in learning about my one-on-one movement coaching, as well as upcoming live workouts and whatever else I have coming up, definitely head over to my website at drsarahionescu.com to get signed up for my exclusive email list. And so, what if like I said, a few minutes a day, if you could be consistent with 3 to 5 minutes a day of doing moves like this, what if you started to feel stronger? You started to feel like things were coming back together for you in terms of your organs in your belly, and you were feeling confident and didn't have any weakness with things like lifting up a car seat or doing the groceries, strengthening your pelvic floor where you're healing after labor and delivery, building that foundation. And then imagine what could happen after that in terms of your workouts, your athletics, your being able to be the mom that you want to be. And, as you age with your kids, still feeling young at heart and able to do all the things that you want to do without having any annoying or nagging symptoms that a lot of people will say are just because you had kids. It doesn't have to be that way. And so that's what we're all about. Definitely subscribe, like I said, ring the bell. Check out some of my other ab workout videos that are maybe for when you're earlier postpartum, super, super gentle. I will link those in the description box below. Always talk to your personal physician, your personal healthcare team to get any recommendations that are specific for you. This is not intended to be medical advice. You always want to consult with your personal physician because they know your history. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Bye.